Hi everyone. So today I'm going to show us a tool that we can use in our toolbox to discover ourselves, and that's going over archetypes. But first I just want to go into and explain why I'm doing this. And the reason is, when I first started this video series, it was basically my guides and spirit came through and told me that it had to be raw. It had to be all of my experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and show people that we're all humans. We're all on this journey together, was what the message I had received. So during, I have been struggling here on this island. There's been many deaths here. There's a lot of traumas. Ancestral traumas have occurred here on this island. There's currently a lot of friction going on between the natives of this land and also people that have been moving here to live. And it's totally understandable, but it's been really messing with my energies. So knowing that, I should have been more careful when I went to sit. And I went to sit to get some information about something. And it was totally off. And I was like, what the heck? It kind of blew me away, because what I experienced everything I normally experience when I go into when I sit, if you will. And as a medium, those of you that are mediums, or even psychics, whatever, you're clairvoyant, clairaudient, you have all your clairs. It's all based on our interpretations, okay? And we're not given a guidebook. In fact, our guides are actually kind of limited by the knowledge base that we have in each one of us. But I sat there and it really floored me. I was like, whoa, why was I so off? Like this, rarely am I ever off like this. And I was just like, why? Why was I so off? And I drew some of my tarot cards, my one set of tarots are there, and I couldn't really get an answer. So as I was sitting there and I'm really befuddled, I'm like, what was going on? And then, my eyes were guided to this deck. And this is my archetype deck. This is, it usually comes in a very pretty box. Because of packing issues to get myself here, I just basically took these out of the box and just brought the book and the cards. But what it was showing me was Spirit was coming through and wanted me to look at the archetypes. And when I did that, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense now. Now I understand why I was so off. And archetypes, to those that don't know, is your shadow self, okay? It's patterns that we do. And at some point when you get on your spiritual journey and you released a lot of stuff, your karma, your ancestral, your generational, you've released some traumas within you, you've done a lot of work, and you're kind of like, oh, sorry. And you're like, well, what can I do now? I would suggest delving into the archetypes. This is knowing one's shadow self is the best way to learn yourself. And a lot of it we don't want to face. We don't want to face. It's like, finding the hard truth and facts about ourselves. These, your cards are not are a tool. They're not your friends. You're going to say, oh, you're never like that. Oh no, unless they're a true friend, and that true friend says, oh, heck yeah, you're just like that. But those friends are rare and hard to find nowadays. But when I delved in to it, I discovered a pattern that I had been doing over and over. And what they were showing me was that I needed to stop doing this pattern. So in Kim Cran's book, she actually gives you a layout. She gives you several, actually. You can see a couple of the different layouts here. But I chose to do Summon the Divine. And basically, this card is based on your chakras. Okay, you can do all 7 chakras if you want. I chose only doing the 3, the root, the heart, the crown. And this gives you a grounded, clear vision, this is in her words, of what is happening within those energetic centers on the spiritual, emotional, and perhaps physical level. So for me, I'm actually going to do, because of my desk size, desk is limited here. The sustainer is my root, the king is my heart, and the one is the crown. Okay? So the crown represents, not the crown, oh my goodness, the root, sorry. The root represents, it's our foundation, okay? This represents our grounding, our lack of grounding, through which we navigate stuckness or habits, fears, things like that. And one of the things that was very prominent to me was when I read the sustainer was that one of the meanings was ego. And that is, and part of it was the need to feel that I'm doing something worthy. So when I went into this reading, into the sitting that I was doing, I wasn't, ego is tricky. Ego is very, very tricky. It's kind of the trickster of us all, and that's because it is us, But when I went to sit in this reading, trying to figure out what was going on, I wanted to feel that I was doing something worthy. I went in with that thought in my mind that I needed to, by assisting this person in this reading, that I was I was kind of like, what do I want to say? I was pacifying my ego, if you will, that need to assist someone. So right off the bat, when I went in, I didn't clear my intentions. I still had this thought process going on, this program, this patterning that was happening, that of not feeling worthy, and I wanted to prove to this person that I was worthy. As mediums, it's very difficult because we get, if we tell someone, something and it's wrong, and they're like, well, that didn't happen, or this or that, and this person doesn't understand that we're only interpreting what is given to us, that makes us feel really crappy. And it makes a lot of people shut down because, we don't want to hurt people. We struggle sometimes, and sometimes it's a burden to be able to see things that we do, and feel things that we do. I am able to feel past. I'm able to feel how someone died. So it can be a very difficult burden sometimes. And when someone doesn't want to face something that you've given in a reading or whatever happens, and they're like, no, you're being very open. It's a very open. It makes one raw to share your vulnerability, and then to have someone say, oh, that's not right. Okay. And that's a shadow aspect of myself. That's a shadow aspect of myself is that feeling of not being worth, or, feeling like I have to prove myself. And this goes back, this isn't just in this lifetime, this goes back many, many lifetimes, okay? Where I've been called different things, I've been called a witch, I've been called, a liar, things like that in a lot of past lifetimes. So it's something that I thought that I had worked out, but apparently it's still coming through on a lesser degree, but it's still coming through. So this is something that I need to work on. So the next thing that came through for why this reading, and I don't even call it a reading, I was just sitting and trying to hopefully get figure something out for someone. This one's your heart. And what didn't really pertain to the reading itself, but it was more about a pattern that I was having, that I was kind of stuck in. And the heart is your current archetype image currently residing in the heart. And what I realized is that in my videos, I always say, take only what resonates, everyone's in their own reality, da-da-da-da-da. And I thought that I was pretty good at, understanding when someone talks to me and they have a different reality than me. You know, I thought I was pretty good at understanding that that's the reality and that's okay. So what this was showing me was that I am doing that, but I all of a sudden saw my partner when I was reading the meaning of this card. And the king is someone who has to listen to both sides, cannot be biased in his decision making. And what was happening was with my partner was that for as much as I sit here on the video and I tout, everyone has their own reality and stuff, and I thought that I had a good grasp of it, what I was doing to my partner was a complete opposite. So it opened my eyes that, you know, I keep saying that's your reality, this is my reality, but I was actually, you know, by him talking about his reality, I was actually having almost like a bristling effect, if you will, like, you know, and it wasn't I was trying to sway him on my reality. That wasn't at all what I do. It was just that I immediately get kind of like my backup, and sometimes I cut him off and I don't allow him to finish. And that was something that I was like, wow, okay, that is a reoccurring pattern. So what I'm learning to do now is that when he starts talking about something, politics or whatever, then what I do is I just sit there and listen. Because now I understand that I thought I was allowing his reality to unfold for him, but the reality was I wasn't. I hope that makes sense. So in order to, now that I understood the pattern of what I was doing, you can break that by doing the complete opposite. So now what I'm trying to do is making a conscious effort to, when he starts talking to me about his political tangents or whatever he's doing, I'm allowing him that space to speak fully. So I hope that helps you understand. I'm trying to get you to understand how to make the archetypes work for you, okay? The next one is the one. And this one was my crown, okay? And this is the energy within oneself, okay? This card represents the part of you that wants to reach beyond the self towards heaven, okay? And what this card is that what it was showing me was that I was struggling with love. You know, it's like, again, going back to the sustainer, you know, again, that feeling of worth. You know, so this card was actually showing me that ultimately I want to be in complete love, but it was still something that I needed to work on, that it was still something that I was struggling with. And one of the reasons why that message came through the way it did, and my interpretation of it was that my thought process was one of, I put my process of love, if you will, on my interpretation. So basically what these cards were telling me was that I was not in a neutral state. It was reminding me that I wasn't in a neutral state. And what was coming through was my feeling of a self-worth. This one was more just a general patterning that I was doing. And then this one was showing me that I was taking it from, I was sitting, interpreting what I was seeing based on my own thoughts of love, my own thought process of love. So all of a sudden I was just like, aha, whoa, okay, oh my God, that makes so much sense. You know, at first when I pulled the cards, when I pulled the sustainer, I'm like, oh, nope, I've done a lot of work with that. That's not a problem. And then I sat down, I'm like, okay, this card would not have come up if it wasn't a problem. And it still is a problem. And then literally what Spirit showed me was different circumstances about that. So why I was sitting there, why this event happened, was for me to go within. That's the word I just received, is go within and go back through again. And it's so funny because my one teacher, Janet Nahovic, she said to me that, you know, mediumship is hard. It's really hard, and you have to accept that you're going to be wrong sometimes and know that that's okay. And because of my sustainer, my worth, I wasn't. I wasn't accepting that. I was struggling with that acceptance that I could have been wrong. And through these cards, I now understand why I misinterpreted that reading. So just an idea, just an example of how you can use these cards to assist you in different things. And it does make you really have to go within yourself to figure out these patternings. Like I said, at first you're going to be like, oh, no, that's not me. And then you're like, wait a second. Maybe I am like that. Maybe I am. I think that I'm sitting here and I'm in non-judgment with my partner as he's talking about his politics. But the reality is I would allow his reality, but I was cutting him off too at the same time, if that makes any sense. So yeah, these, do some archetype shadow work on yourself. If you have a question like, why did something happen or what's going on, everything's an experience. I don't, my friend Ruth, she's like, don't use the word lesson. It really gives bad connotation. I'm like, okay, but that's what Spirit calls it. But yeah, they're just experiences. They're given to us. And then it's up to us whether we, as much as, I felt really bad. Like I totally misinterpreted this reading. But the woman, when I explained to her what happened, she totally understood. She's like, I understand, Denise. And she could see it from my perspective, which kind of floored me because, it's kind of like a humbling moment of, now I got to go to this woman and say, I'm sorry. That wasn't what the reality of the reading was. So it caused me to be humble. And that's okay. But it's very difficult for me to accept that. So I just wanted to share this with you, give you an idea again of some ways that you can assist yourself on this journey and getting to know yourself better. Again, facing the shadow aspects is hard, but we all got to do it, and it'll actually reveal a lot more of your personality than you realize. So anyway, if you like this video, you found it helpful, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you want more videos. And if you have any questions or comments, experiences, you want a Akashic record reading, kind of want to know your soul's purpose, your galactic history, please email me. I'll set you up for an appointment for a reading. And, just if things are just not quite right, you just don't know really what's going on in your world, send me an email and, we'll try and figure out stuff together. You're not in this alone. And, yeah, I think that's it. So, yeah, have a great day, guys. Bye.